Honorable Legionnaires, members of the House, ladies and gentlemen, what is a community? Is it a collection of like-minded people? Is it a space where friends gather and engage with one another? Is it a group of interests around which members coalesce? Perhaps it is all of these things. But what defines a community more than the members that make it up? And what indeed defines those members more than their names? And further, what defines those names, if not the color they are printed in? As we open this session of the Pantsraad today, we are tasked to consider a question fundamental to the very heart, the very soul of our community. Consider well your words, honorable members. Consider the ramifications of this choice, for it may be the most important you have ever made. Consider Team Hot Dog, a selection familiar to connoisseurs of stadium snack foods across the globe. While the obvious exclusion of Relish Green is notable, they nevertheless present a smorgasbord of variety of reds, yellows, and Maillard reaction browns. Arguing for this palette, the Honorable Kaijufro, the Honorable Polish Drone Strike, and the Honorable Turbo. Consider Team Blurple, a smattering of colors along the shorter wavelengths of the visible spectrum, the blues and violets and cyans and indigos, never minding that indigo was a color fabricated solely to enable the acronym Roy G. Biv, a man for whom we have no conclusive evidence ever even existed. Arguing for the merits of their colors, the Honorable Cookie Mama, the Honorable Big ZZ, and the Right Honorable Mr. Squick. Consider Team Grayscale, devotees of brutalism and neutrality, and the most colorblind accessible of the three parties. Whites, blacks, light grays, dark grays, all the values between 0 and 1 are represented in this collection. Arguing for this slate, the Honorable Lone Wolf and the Honorable Sudson. Members of the House, your decision today is between these three camps. Here is how the day's debate will be structured. First, I will call upon each team to speak for 60 seconds and make their opening arguments. After each team has been allowed to speak, I will open the floor for general, moderated debate. I remind the members of the House that all remarks should be addressed to the Speaker, and that while the Speaker will attempt to control who has the floor, members are permitted to interject and raise objections or points of privilege in accordance with the totally legitimate and not made-up rules of the House. During this period, I may pose questions to any or all of the three teams submitted by members of the Black Pants Legion and/or questions submitted through chat. These questions have not been provided to the members in advance. At the conclusion of the open debate, I will call upon each team to present closing arguments for 60 seconds. After each team has presented its arguments, a Twitch poll will run for 2 minutes, during which members of the House may again engage in open debate. After the stream is concluded, the Legion itself will conduct an internal vote, and a final color palette will be chosen. Are there any questions from the delegates before we begin?
What is the available level of violence?
2 sword lengths and a foot.
Understandable.
Does anyone know where the craft services table wandered off to?
What firearms are permitted for the dueling section?
I'm out of coffee.
All right, having no significant questions of any importance, we will begin with the introductory arguments. I call upon Team Blurple to speak for 60 seconds. You have the floor.
Honorable Will, Camera Diggs, and Zenith, and honorable members of the Pantsraad, and viewers on the gallery. I am the Cookie Mama, and I speak for Blurple. Blues and purples are calming colors, and in this current year, we need calm, and we also need shitpost, because it is a sneak to sneak in and think we are calming and cool and collected, and then shitpost all over. And also, blues and purples are royal colors, which also can be shitpostery because we are far from royal. And that is the basis of our presentation to you this day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. Good day.
Thank you, Ms. Cookie Mama. I now call upon Team Grayscale to speak with their open arguments. You have 60 seconds.
The honorable people of the BPL Legion and the Auxiliary and all you wonderful viewers, Team Grayscale would like to remind everyone of the continuity and the constant that is gray. It is always in the middle. It is always present. Many of you today, preferably all of you, are watching this in dark mode, which means you are part of Team Grayscale whether you want it to be or not. Grayscale is there. It is always comforting. And it's always with your eyes, soothing and neither hurting. We at Grayscale really, really strive to do everything we can right in the middle, because that, honestly, is the comfort zone that we all choose and prefer. Not purple, not hot dog, gray, I tell you. Gray is the way to be, and gray is the great way that we all strive. For those who are colorblind and those who are not, we shall stay Grayscale for one, for all. Thank you.
Cutting it close. Well done. Team Hot Dog, your opening arguments, please. You have 60 seconds. You now have 55 seconds.
Polish, that's you.
Fuck! I wasn't pressing a button. Can I?
You now have 50 seconds.
Hot dogs. 3 different things coming together to form something whole. The yellow standard bread that holds everything together. The core meat that can be varied but it always holds the same shape. And the red ketchup which seals the entire thing and you couldn't have it without it. The moderators hug us with their bread warmth. Us, the community, the core, the meat. Tex is the man, the reason we're all found this place. He's the ketchup. We should represent what we are, a hot dog. There is no use hiding our true nature. Other team use colors as reference to the chat color. We actually represent something, a hot dog. Think of our great founder Tex. He doesn't even see colors. Purple means nothing to him. A grayscale? This is just a sad reminder. Hot dog is a symbol. It's
Members'
something
time has
people...
elapsed.
Fuck! Bye.
Thank you, honorable members. We'll now begin the open/moderated debate section. I open the floor now for general debate.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to pick a fight immediately.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Yes, hello, Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the Pantsraad. As I'm sure you're aware, hot dogs are a meat implement invented by the meat recycling consortium we now know as 7-Eleven. And as the modern hot dog continues to exist, I must point back to its history, wherein in the mid-90s there was a glorious revolution with the greatest hot dog ever created, and that was with condiments. I say to look at your previous condiments, which were available in a wide variety of colors. The most cursed and powerful, as with wizards, was the Heinz ketchup available in Blurple. They called it the purple ketchup, and they were objectively wrong. I invite you to look at your own highlighted messages, and you will see the power of Blurple. I say it's time to bring it to the masses, and let them see it with all of their human eyeballs, as they have desired to do for ages immemorial. As to grayscale, it's probably pretty nice, but Blurple's better.
Ooh.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
I would like to address my honorable colleague, Mr. Squick. If he would like to address condiments, I would like to refer to grayscale as the most ancient of condiments. We are salt and pepper. We have been here time
when things
immemorial
don't work
since
right, work because
man crossed oceans and salted their fish and their pork.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to address the floor.
The Honorable Mr. Turbo.
Well, it is true that grayscale and blurple also represent condiments. I'd like to say that their arguments hold no water, as truly the most cursed condiment has always been the green Shrek tie-in ketchup. And while that's not represented here, it is worth noting that the colors of hot dog represent more than just the hot dog itself. There is the brown that represents the abundant, overflowing shitposty nature of the Legion. The red, which harkens back to our original colors, our roots. There's the pink, which of course we dedicate to the brave catgirl fighters of Canopus, whom we dedicate this debate to.
Here, here.
And furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I would like to point out something. You know who else is most associated with grayscale? Tesla.
The great
Ooh.
enemy.
Mr. Speaker.
Order. That name will not be spoken within this hollow chamber. Not today.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
I would like to immediately and angrily rebut, for I point out to you, is the
But-
color scheme of Canopus, grand drug purveyor to all sides of military robot conflict, not that of Blurple itself? Who but they could create such a fine mishmash of colors that invokes everything good and fun in a galaxy consumed by being dark and edgy and very, very heavy and stompy robots that don't park very well? Don't worry about it. No, I say that we're stealing their argument. I'm taking it and I'm putting it in my desk. It is mine now. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, fair point.
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
I would kindly like to remind both of our colleague groups that we are not the Purple Pants Legion. We're not the Hot Dog Pants Legion. We are the Back Pants Legion. And
Or the Back
in that-
Pants Legion?
the Black Pants Legion, for my faux pas of tonguery. Don't worry. I would like to remind everyone that we of the Black Pants Legion are fundamentally grayscale. Batman was grayscale. Gandalf was grayscale. Everyone here has someone dear to their heart who is right in the middle. You can't defeat grayscale because we are always there and a part of you.
Honorable Speaker, if I may.
The Honorable Mr. Drone Strike.
My opponents have only colors. They have no symbol. You say a lot of words, specifically Squeak. He says a lot while delivering no information. Hot dog is a symbol. It's not a color. It can be understood by people of all walks of life. And they say, "Oh, grayscale is accessible to people who don't see color." That doesn't mean anything. Colors don't mean anything. Hot dog is a thing. Hot dog is a thing that anyone will understand. And they may use word like condiments or something, try to strap something to their colors. But colors are just colors. They mean nothing. They have no identity. Thank you.
Hear, hear.
I would like at this time now to unseal some of the questions we have collected from members of the Legion. For Team Grayscale, please answer the following in 60 seconds or less. Team Grayscale, my grandma called and she wants her TV colors back. Why should we adopt this relic of the past?
He was dignity distorted, bravery become knavery, sanctimonious masking sin. He was a mirror, jeering at the subject it reflected, yet so muted were the jeers, so delicate the iniquities of delineation, that they
Iniquities
evaded
nuts.
detection. True and false were blended together. The false was merely an extended shadow of the true.
Thank you for that definitely relevant reply. Team Blurple, please answer the following in 60 seconds or less. Team Blurple, your color is described as offensive and undemocratic. What do you have to say in your defense?
Mr. Speaker, what could be more on brand for this establishment than to be as offensive and undemocratic as possible? We have here one team representing colors that are physically painful to view with the human eye, specifically designed to be so, to encourage mindfulness and thought. We have here a team based on the color scheme of the pants our organization was founded after. And I don't know about you, but when my pants started talking, it's because I went to Wide Toms, and that is a problem. And then we have a team based on the hot dog, which is normal and everyday and plebeian, and you can find them everywhere to shove into your meat tube receptacle that all humans are, of course, equipped with. And it is probably very tasty, but is that what you want in your eyeballs for viewing? No, sir. Blurple is the way of the future for eyeballs of all shapes and sizes.
Thank you. Team Hot Dog, you claim to represent hot dogs, but lack sauerkraut. Why is this?
Well, I would say that Well, first, thank you for the question, but sauerkraut being sort of a whitish thing, it would really, really not do well for people who use light mode. And while I don't really want to, cater to the light mode people like Wide Tom, I do want to say that there's no reason that our color should exclude people.
Very well. Now return to the open debate. Who would like the floor? Hearing no one.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to
Yes.
provoke a fight.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Yes, I would like to immediately point out that the Team Grayscale here is very good, but also underrepresented. They have no third voice, as they are clearly the inferior color set, and as such should be immediately launched into the chandelier that they might yell at others from above. Also, I am enjoying the energy drink. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
We have a question here from chat directed to all teams. What does your color taste like?
A hot dog.
Time.
A good hot dog.
There you have it.
Have you ever seen, with your human eyes, a bowl of Skittles immediately after being shoved through a hydraulic press, extruded into a single tube, which is then fed to a cotton candy machine at a fairground of your childhood? That is the flavor of Blurple.
Flavor of Grayscale, let me tell you. It is vanilla and chocolate. Classic, simple, and ever popular.
Well, Speaker, I would also like to address the question.
The Honorable Mr. Turbo.
I'd like to say that the colors of Blurple are perhaps most closely identified with cough medicine, which, as we all know, is perhaps lacking in flavor, and little needs to be said for Grayscale, the universal color of blandness.
Mr. Speaker, I must respond.
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
Grayscale, how Honorable Mr. Turbo, I must disagree. Grayscale, when was the last time you wandered down the aisles of your local grocery store, specifically the frozen food aisle? Yes, I speak not only of vanilla and chocolate that my honorable colleague Mr. Lone Wolf spoke of, but of cookies and cream, sir.
Honorable Speaker, if I may rebut this falsehood.
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
If the grayscale people want to convince me that the gray is the color of any food other than the chips that you may find behind your sofa, they're gravely mistaken with the pepper of dust. It's pathetic and a very weak way to try to, pull us into a lie of gray being the color of something edible and not seal meat and dust.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a point.
The Honorable Mr. Kaijufro.
There's a reason they call the wastewater that comes out of places gray water. It's not to be consumed.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
I would like to direct a observation at the Honorable Mr. Kajipro. One of your colors does indeed appear to be brown. And oh, what is that? I see yellow, the color of urine.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to respond.
The Honorable Mr. Kaijufro.
If your urine is as yellow as mustard, you should go to a doctor.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to get on this brewing fight.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Why, as an organization, are we so obsessed with defining the colors by the flavors associated with them? In this case, that of standard urine, the very normal color, and the taste of whatever that strange crumbly cookie is that comes out immediately before Christmas, lingers just long enough to occupy shelf space and dissolves into a puddle of time. No, why not something more visceral? Why not the texture, or the mouth feel, or the scent of the colors? I say, Mr. Speaker, that my contemporaries are being far too narrow-minded on their interpretation of the colors they purport to represent.
If I can offer a rebuttal,
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
the reason why our competitors are going to the taste argument is because they lack their own character. We provided our colors with a symbol, something that everyone loves, a New York style hot dog, and the only thing they can do is to try to, hijack us by talking about taste and not having any of their own imagination. Squeak offered his very simple expansions out of desperation because his colors represent nothing.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, may I interject for Team Grayscale?
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
I would like to remind everyone that taste isn't everything. Gray is many things, but most of all, it's Batman. Batman is gray. And not only is Batman gray, but his partner in crime is Gray Sun. So, seriously, it has a lot of taste with it. If you hate Grayscale, you hate Batman. And if you hate Batman, well, you're nothing more than a hot dog at that point.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to make a point.
The Honorable Mr. Cadgerfro.
Yes, Batman's partner in crime may have been Gray Sun, but he wore the colors of hot dog. Let's not forget the red, the yellow, the brown, and the pink of his
Speaker.
fleshy thighs that he left out for people to see.
Honorable Speaker, may I also interject?
The Honorable Mr. Turbo.
While it is true that our colors taken as a whole are meant to represent hot dogs, a physical object, an object of nourishment, loved by all, it is also worth noting, as I said before, that our colors each stand on their own, with their own symbolic representations, and I have yet to hear any of the other members of the other teams address their colors on an individual level. They must be taken as a slurry together. There's no separating them. There's no substance to each individual colors. There's simply no thought put behind them.
Mr.
Mr.
Speaker,
Speaker?
I object.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
I haven't put thought into anything here so far, and I'm not about to start now, especially from a team calling for us to flavor sample Batman. Especially when you consider that Batman himself was nothing more than the darker and edgier knockoff of the original Blurple hero, the Phantom, also tasked with punching crime for the crime of doing crime in Crimesville, which, as we all know, is highly fucking illegal.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a point.
The Honorable Mr. Cadgerfro.
Do you really want the Legion to model itself after a Billy Zane character? I think not.
Mr. Speaker, may I speak?
The Honorable Miss Cookie.
As I stated in my earlier points, purple is the color of royalty, and we are the best at what we do, which is shitposting and memes, and we are also an awesome gaming community, as represented by our presence here on the Twitch stream. So I think that is appropriate, and besides, it leads to a lot of chances to be shitpostery. So I think purple is a great color, as well as blue, which is most folks' favorite color. It is the #1 favorite color, so it is well liked, and it also can help us lead to shitpostery because we are often very trolls. So there you go. That's my words.
Mr. Speaker, if I may speak.
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
You speak of not addressing each color in its own, but I may also point out another hero of not only gray, but of white, a bastion of class and intelligence, and I will quote from his history something that everybody will remember. And no, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one we all must take. The gray rain curtain of this world rolls back, and all turns to silver glass, and then you see it. White shores, and beyond, a far country under a swift sunrise. Yes, I speak of Gandalf the Grey, ladies and gentlemen. Gandalf the Grey, who then became Gandalf the White. He only became more powerful not by leaving the grayscale gradient. No, he became white to banish all of the evils of the world.
Speaker, if I may.
The Honorable Mr. Drownstrike.
It's a pattern. It's something that I noticed in between the lines of both our competitors. Something that troubles me because the Black Pants Legion is mostly an American community, and America loves individualism. And what is more anti-American than the color of the royalty and the colors of gray NPCs? Isn't this a wrong move? Isn't this the danger? Shouldn't we stray away and go back into the American symbol, the second most recognizable American symbol behind the burger, the hot dog? Thank you.
Mr.
Hear, hear.
Speaker, I object.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
He's making a lot of good points, and I don't like it.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to rebut the honourable member's point.
The Honorable Mr. Zizi.
I would say that yes, the colours of royalty are once a symbol of oppression and of the monarchical rule of old European countries. However, what's more individual than saying, fuck the man, I'm taking your colours?
Mr. Speaker, may I interject?
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
What is purple? Purple is a danger to us all. And let me tell you why. Because of the notorious Burple Beeple Eater. It is out there. It is going to get you, and it's going to eat you. And when you attract it with its Burple colors, you will die. We have footage of this creature we will then send to you to partake in this Burple monstrosity.
Mr. Speaker, I object.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
There is no proof that the Blurple Beeple Eater has ever existed. No, while the series of corpses was, of course, unfortunate, nothing has been proven, and I object to these outrageous accusations.
Honorable Speaker, I must interject.
The Honorable Mr. Turbo.
Honorable Speaker, the legions of Canopus catgirls which have bravely been defending us, whom we chose our color pink to represent, have lost many numbers in their fight against the Blurple Beeple Eater. It is a disservice to them to deny its existence. Look at the scorch marks on the battle mechs they bring home, and tell me that it is fake.
Okay.
May their ooh-woos echo in eternity.
Let's do some questions from the chat. Team Blurple, what would your coloring book be like?
Mr. Speaker, I believe I speak for all of us when I say our coloring book would be an 872-page omnibus of some of the finest Blurple-related drawings commercially available, from those of the original Blurple, legally not the Blurple Beeple Eater, Grimace, on up through such fine and dignified exhibits of Blurple as were seen in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when that one lady didn't pay attention to OSHA rules and ate the forbidden snack food. There are literally oh, that's concerning. There are literally dozens of options available. And all of them could be seen in hotel artwork as far as the eye can see, at a very reasonable level of $6 a pound. Now, not only are we prepared to have this coloring book featured in hotel art walls, but we could go so far as to put one in the Smithsonian by walking in through the open doors and leaving it behind for the lost and found after janitorial picks it up off the park bench. I believe
Team
I've
Gray.
answered your question.
Indeed. Team Grayscale. Have you tested your colors to see how well they work in dark mode?
I would like to answer that indubitably. You would see that Team Grayscale is dark mode, and so they have always been tested, and they will always work in dark mode, for we are one with dark mode. Thank you.
Team Hot Dog. Question from chat. What do you say about the fact that when Robin grew up, he ditched hot dog colors for blue, which is part of Blurple?
I would say that he went through an emo phase, and that's just
emo phase.
obnoxious.
Speaker, I would also like to address the question and say that while one Robin did, another Robin doubled down, becoming, I believe it was Red Hood. And just
Would
as
that
well,
be the
there have
one
been...
that was shot by the Joker?
Correct. There are also other Robins, multiple in fact, that have donned the hot dog colors since.
Also, proud speaker, some of the Jokers, the most evil people who hurt Robin the most, were very close to the Blurple color palette, which is evil.
Oh, look at that. We have a question for me to the Honorable Will. What is the going rate for bribes? To Magma.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
I would like to address the honorable members of the Blurple team and say that Blurple is, if we are not going to address food, if we are not going to address symbols, let us then address the medical conditions related with Blurple. Bruises, injury to your skin, hypothermia, loss of one's thermal potential, suffocation, loss of one's oxygen. Yes, Blurple reflects many forms of loss of life.
Mr. Speaker,
I would like to respond.
immediately rebut.
Ooh, I'll flip a coin. The Honorable Mr. Zizi.
The honourable member mentions that purple is part of the colours of injury and subsequently death. I will remind everyone that grey is would represent the very state of death, the lack of life. In fact, leaving the body of the spirit and soul, and leaving of the grey dead husk.
I believe the
Mr.
Honorable
Speaker, I
Mr.
would like to rebut.
I believe the Honorable Mr. Squick had a question. Would the member yield?
The member will yield.
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
Only the end of one life. You forget our very close relatives, the undead, and those of the magical realm of skeletons and zombies. How dare you belittle their worth as creatures of this fine dimension and plane of existence?
Honorable
I would
Speaker,
like
if I may
to, in
interject.
fact, I
I
would like to, in fact, say
the
they have no
Honorable
worth.
Order. The Honorable Mr. Turbo.
I would like to go on record that Team Grayscale has definitively said they are the team of the Skeleton King. And just as well note that hot dogs are an object of sustenance. They keep life going, and they represent the best of us.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
returning for a moment to our original point and tearing back the spotlight from the team endorsing casual cannibalism via the meat tube, and that endorsing the recycling of corpses to encourage their voting bloc, I would simply like to take a moment to point out that yes, while purple, blurple, or blue may be individually considered the colors of injury, these are the very things that let us know we're alive. These are your rewards for an adventure, for going out and doing doing something that perhaps was best left undone. But in our capacity as thinking beings, we are able to override and ignore that instinct in favor of having a really good time with really bad ideas. And that is how we know, each of us, instinctually, that these are the badges worn by one who has gone forth into the wilderness and kickboxed a tree until victory was found. Yes, it may take some time to heal. Yes, you may be cold, but by the time you're back, you're gonna have more stories to tell, more bruises to poke at, and probably something cute and fuzzy at home to pet, such as, for example, a small dog that you can feed snacks to. I consider this the ideal state of being, and I challenge either of my opposing teams to come up with a finer argument for why you should have a small fuzzy animal at home readily available to give attention and snacks to.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to respond.
The Honorable Mr. Kaijifro.
First off, I would like to say there is no greater reward for a day than having yourself a hot dog. And second, when that little furry animal wants a treat, what's the greatest treat? What's the one that they will just piss themselves over? A little
hot
bit of hot dog. I mean, come on.
Yes.
It's what we all crave. It's what we all want. It should be our colors because of this.
Should also be noted, the hot dog is a reward of it's a good time in itself. No need for
Order.
bad
The member
mistakes
has
or
not been
injury.
recognized.
Mr. Speaker, if I can speak,
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
I need to provide a rebuttal for a piece of slander and disgusting propaganda that was displayed on the screen without notice of any of the or acceptance of any of the people here. The choking, the hot dog choking that was provided. That man suffered a karmic justice because he wanted all of the hot dogs to himself. He ate 47 hot dogs. He didn't share it with the Legion, and he deserved it, fate. Hot dog giveth, and the hot dog taketh away his life of the glutton.
Hear, hear.
Mr.
Aye.
Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
let me mention something about hot dogs and the dangers they represent. They are clearly a meat tube choking hazard. They've killed many, many people through our time, and they're quite dangerous. And frankly, have you ever seen a hot dog that can last and keep its shape for years and years? Because there are many hot dogs on display to this day in every convenience store of death meat that'll kill you if you consume it. And quite frankly, it's terrifying.
Speaker, if I may rebut this bullshit argument.
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
Does the lone wolf imply that dangerous things should not be engaged with? Black Pants Legion is a gathering of adults. We engage in dangerous activities every single day. We are working people, we are brave people, and we are strong people. So many cool guns can be shot. And what do? They're dangerous. So many drills can drill into the earth. So many buildings can be erected. Every single one of those activities can take away a life. And how should we reward dangerous activities? With a dangerous meal, a hot dog. Hot dog will only choke you if you eat 47 of them. If you go anywhere below that number, you're 100% safe. It is impossible to choke on a hot dog if you eat less than 47 of them.
Choke on my hot dog.
Order. A question for all teams from chat. Why not choose them all? Hashtag Team Chrome.
Speaker, if I may.
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
Because that's the purpose of contests. Contests are a thing that keeps us going. And if we agree to disagree, if we compromise on this, the Black Pants Legion will slowly erode into a land of compromise, a land of complacency. Isn't that a boring and a sad fate? Shouldn't we engage in conflict, become more destructive?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to rebut.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Mr. Speaker, I would just like to draw to the attention of this body that not only has Team Hot Dog been advocating for the most violent and chaotic options available at every turn, but at no point have they denied the accusations of cannibalism. In fact, it is my supposition here, made in front of the floor, that they intend to grind as many human meat puppets into paste as they can in order to bolster their own numbers for their meat tube corporate empire. Our only chance to stop this is to vote for a better color set, a stronger color set, to vote for Blurple and vote hot dogs back to the antiquated land of kitchen appliances in which they belong.
Mr. Speaker, can I rebut
Mr.
this?
Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
As one of my favorite anarcho-capitalist interviews ever said, the stupidest thing: people will die, yes. Period.
No follow up from the Honorable Member?
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
why Tom is near and dear to our heart. And quite frankly, Team Hot Dog says that you're only in danger if you eat 47 hot dogs. And I might remind you that Wide Tom eats over 47 hot dogs every single day. He is at risk, a dear risk, a national icon, and they would dare put beloved Wide Tom at risk. Even Purple and Burple puts Wide Tom at risk. Why? Because it's delicious to him. Yes, it may be tempting, but it will probably kill him. And we, keeping this national treasure in order, must keep him very, very centered. Thank
Honorable
you.
Speaker, I'd like to
Mr.
rebut.
Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Turbo, I believe.
Honorable Speaker, I'd like to offer a correction. For White Tom does not eat large quantities of hot dogs. He eats large quantities of bean dogs straight from his own beanery.
I believe the Honorable Mr. Kajufro had a point to raise.
Yes, my point is this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is that of the three choices, which one can you put beans on? The hot dog. That's why Wide Tom eats them. That's why we should choose them. They are the one choice that can be had with beans at Wide Tom's Bean House. Thank you.
Mr.
Mr.
Speaker,
Speaker.
point of order.
I will hear the point.
Legally, there's minimal distinction between bean and hot dog other than physical layout and content.
The member's point is well taken. However, the difference between a bean and a hot dog, the structural physical difference, is not the matter before the House this day.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Sudson.
I would like to address my colleagues on Team Hot Dog and refer back to a comment that was made where they called the Legion an American Legion, one of the United States. And I would like to point out that our community, as the Honorable Mr. Will rightly pointed out at the beginning, is a community of many different peoples. We are a global community of inclusion and welcome and friendliness. To think that we are simply restricted only to Americans is far beyond what this community is, and it seems discriminatory.
Honorable Speaker, if I may rebut.
Please proceed.
Honorable Speaker, the hot dog, though it is widely regarded as an American creation, has its roots in Germany, and it was brought to us by immigrants, and it has been spread again throughout the world through America. It is a multinational icon of sustenance and joy.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to subvert my opponent's point.
The Honorable Mr. Zizi.
The world is blue.
If
So
I may,
Speaker, if I may.
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike, I believe, spoke first.
the blue parts are unsustainable for human life, and such are things that are blue and purple, often a sign of poison.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to rebut immediately and violently.
I believe the Honorable Mr. Turbo had intended to speak next. Will the member yield?
I just have a quick point, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member has the floor.
No, you.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Yes, in traditional fashion, I offer the following argument of the splayed hand and the eggplant.
Order! Order, there will be no splayed hand eggplants within these walls.
If I may, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
Splayed hand hot dog.
Ooh.
Here,
subverting the
Speaker, I
word.
object.
We object.
Here. Oh, there. No, sorry. Order.
Pandering.
Handering, if you will. A question from the chat for all teams. What are your stances on colors not represented by the current debate?
Team
Mr. Speaker?
Grayscale can offer their opinion.
The Honorable Miss Cookie.
Mr. Speaker, there was a strong push for the color pink, which indeed had a place, and there were other discussions, but these were the ones that that were strongly encouraged and strongly liked in the first run, and we do appreciate the thought of other colors, and they make our world, what it is. But these are the colors that the original we have came out strong and thought as good colors for the Legion.
Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Kaijufro.
I would like to add that while we seem to be limited to these 4 color choices with hot dog, the reality is that there is room for expansion. There is not as much room for expansion in either Blurple or Grayscale, but should we wish to choose it, we can add the green of Relish. We can add the sort of off-white of sauerkraut, should someone ask for it. There are even other versions of toppings that have a wide variety of colors, and in the future, should more colors be necessary, they can fall more easily under the umbrella of hot dog than they can under Blurple or Grayscale.
Here, here.
On that note, a follow-up question from chat for Team Hot Dog. Why does the mustard?
Why not the mustard?
Mr. Speaker, if I may add to
Mr.
this
Speaker.
answer.
The Honorable Mr. Jonestrike.
Yes. Mustard is a good replacement for people who want to limit their sugar intake, since ketchup is very sugar rich. So
I
we
believe.
present an alternative for healthier living, for healthier hot dog.
I believe the Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf had a point.
I would like to go back to the question as for representing the other colors. I would like
Please.
to point out that we at Grayscale accept all the other colors and would like to remind everyone that there are those of us in the Legion who cannot see all the colors, or any color, matter of fact, and they are widely underrepresented. Unfortunately, the vast majority of your pets are also colorblind, and so it would be unfair to them to give them colors they truly wouldn't be able to entertain, see, or enjoy. But the warmth of Grayscale accepts everyone.
Mr.
Honorable
Speaker, if I
Speaker.
may rebut this,
The Honorable
Evil.
Mr. Jonestrike.
he pretends Grayscale is inclusive to the people of the colorblind, but what are colors to the colorblind? We provide a symbol, something a person who doesn't experience colors can understand. A hot dog is a hot dog. They know what a hot dog looks like. They don't need a artificial color construct of most of the humanity's brain. They see it as perfectly as we. Their brains just do not process it into different colors. But a hot dog is something they can understand. A hot dog is something I can understand.
Mr. Speaker?
The Honorable Mr. Kaijufro.
I would also like to add that while animals cannot see color in the way that humans can, they do have other senses, and a dog can pick out a hot dog way faster than it can pick out a grayscale or a blurple.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
I would simply like to take a moment to point out that it is not the purpose of these colors to be readily understood, to be viewed by millions, or to be indeed understood by any of us here today. The purpose of the colors is to be mysterious, unknown, unknowable, and, dare I say, haunting. Now, while it may be true that both animals and members of our constituency are unable to perceive a wide variety of colors here, does that not simply add to the majesty, the mystique, the mysterious nature, where one may not know if one is dealing with a member of the common people, one of the leadership, a moderator, or perhaps even someone who's just showed up with a crowbar, kicked open the door, and lost it behind the ice machine?
Mr.
I
Speaker.
submit to you, good people, that colors are strange and unknowable, and as such, our color scheme should reflect this.
Mr. Speaker, if I may,
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
I want to invalidate this word salad as greatly irrelevant to our discussion.
Here, here.
I object.
I will hear the objection.
I don't like it.
Mr. Speaker,
Like,
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
I would like to point out that everyone talks of symbols and colors and all the other things associated with those things. But the thing is those symbols can still be gray. Those symbols will always be the color that they choose to be, that we make them. And so hot dogs, whether they are colored or not, can always be grayscale. But what that really means is that purple and hot dog are elitist colors. They cater to a select few, whereas grayscale encompasses the many and feels that it's just needed that we as a community are many.
Mr. Speaker, if I may,
The Honorable Mr. Dronestrike.
Lone Wolf once again with the anti-American sentiment. If some people can't have it, no one can have it. Is that really the kind of thing we want to propagate here in this space, Internet America?
Mr. Speaker.
I apologize, but due to a technical glitch, we must now proceed to the closing statements slightly ahead of schedule, although I'm sure the members have much more they would like to say in the open debate phase. Closing statements. Beginning with Team Hot Dog, you have 60 seconds.
Mr. Speaker, Team Hot Dog wants to take a moment to thank the opposition for their input and thank the Pantsraad for bringing this debate to the floor. We've heard many arguments today, not all without merit. However, Team Hot Dog would like to close with these points. First, and most important in a practical sense, Team Hot Dog represents the greatest range of color choice, with colors that are diverse and distinguishable. One can only imagine the chaos of if the chosen color scheme is one of gradients. Second, the colors of Team Hot Dog are representative of the single greatest foodstuff created by man, and thus the colors invoke memories of the flavors of that foodstuff. Can either other team say this? What does gray taste like, and what is blurple really? With the colors of the hot dog, you know what you were getting. Bun, mustard, ketchup, and of course, hot dog. To this august chamber, I say that there can be only one choice. The choice that speaks to us, the choice that invokes fine flavors, the choice that will stand out and allow for easy recognition. This chamber simply must vote Team Hot Dog. Thank you.
The members of Team Grayscale, you have 60 seconds.
I counterpoint and say that grayscale is a gradient, yes, but while blurple may be the color of the planet and hot dog may be some food stuff that is happening common across this planet, I say no. When you leave and you walk out into the middle of nowhere and you set up your tent and you wait until all the light of humanity has descended away, there is no pollution, there is no society, there is nothing, and you look up, I say, you look up and you see what? You see the white of the moon. You see the whites of the stars. You see the black of the night sky. The impossibly unconceivable void that is the beauty of our night sky. And what is that displayed in? It is displayed in grayscale.
And finally, Team Blurple, your closing statements. You have 60 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honourable members of my party and the others. I will close off with the points, reiterating, as we have argued, that blue and purple are noble colours. Purple itself, the colour of royalty, of, in fact, the Praetorian Royal Guard. And this should not be left this way. We should take these colours. We should fight under these colours. We should not try to subvert the symbolism of the Legion, the black pants itself with the hot dog, and we should not bend to the bland background fading colors of the grayscale. We should stand proud and alone in our purple and blue colors. Play me out, Mr. Squick.
Thank you. All right. I thank the members for their final comments. There is now a poll running on Twitch. I invite the members of the House and of the gallery to vote on their preferred color of choice and reopen the floor for open debate while the poll timer elapses.
Mr. Speaker, I have something to say for the wonderful people.
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
I would kindly like to remind the people that grayscale is wonderful, and of course, there's nothing sadder than a sad clown.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
I would simply like to remind the people that according to the arguments made here today, if you enjoy the flavor of sad clown in your mouth, Team Hot Dog is there for you. If you enjoy the flavor of joy and delightful mystery, Team Blurple is here. And of course, Team Grayscale is also available for those of you looking for a less commercialized option.
Mr. Speaker,
The Honorable Mr. Kajafro.
I would like to point out to Team Grayscale that the saddest clown of all was Pagliacci, and he wore black and white.
But I'm Pagliacci.
Don't start that, man.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to threaten the floor with blowing the dude again.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Yes. Floor, I will blow the dude again if you don't, calm down and vote for our weird bullshit. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, if I may,
Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Jones Strike.
For everyone listening, I say to you, do not be fooled by the meaningless word salad that exit from the Team Blurple. Do not believe them. I want to say to you, do not choose mediocrity of Team Grayscale. Choose something that you can actually believe in and be satisfied with yourself afterwards. Do not believe the lies.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr.
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf, I believe, spoke first.
I would like to point out to everyone that grayscale is here, not just for everyone, but for what's needed to be done. For what's needed to be done is to make sure that the world and all of the people are protected from the Burple people eaters, the Burple beeple eaters, and the hot dog eaters. Now, you might think of hot dogs as a wonderful tube of meat, but they are also deadly. And so, really, vanilla and chocolate is the way to go. It's your comfort food. It's what you need. It's
Mr.
what you
Speaker?
choose.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to filibuster.
The Honorable Mr. Squick.
Now, we live in a wide variety of
No.
interesting and unexpected worlds where anything can happen at any time for any reason or no reason. So why not take the time, as each of us have in our limited 24-hour single Earth rotation day, to really get in there and think about such things as your perception of color space and how the different colors can make you personally feel, not only today, but in 27 years when this becomes a relevant point. Now, the decisions you make today will affect your future from now until time itself is forgotten. So why settle for mediocrity when a better color space is available? After all, did Adobe not recently revoke a number of colors due to a simple business dispute? Who is to say that human eye jellies cannot be convinced to do the same thing, redacting your experience down to either a single monochromatic option or expanding it until flavor space is encompassed in the same? Both options represent terrible danger to our current understanding of consciousness and perception, as interpreted by the calcium-caged brain lightning meat we have all come to know and love as our source for consciousness in these uncertain times. Not only is
Filibuster.
that...
I object.
The Honorable Mr. Lone Wolf.
I would like to remind everyone that sex bots and soup are gray, and that hot dogs are made of buttholes and lips. So don't.
I must object.
The Honorable
Does
Mr. Gronestrike.
does the does the lone wolf imply that the butthole meat has to rot unused? We are the green and sustainable option. All of the meat that would be thrown away can be enjoyed with delightful taste. The butthole taste, the butt bot taste.
No speaker.
The Honorable Mr. Turbo.
I would like to remind the lovely members of the Legion and the Ox that a certain electrical car manufacturer most closely associates with Grayscale. And you want to know what's really made of buttholes?
I object.
Team Purple.
So
Boom.
do I.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I object.
How
Both
dare.
the characterization of Blurple as
Speaker.
butthole team and the politicization of the
Mr.
soup and
Speaker.
sex bots.
Order.
I will not be silent. The soup
Honorable
bots
Mr.
are forbidden in this
Will
chamber.
the member yield? The Honorable Mr. Kaijufro.
Oh, sorry.
I'd like to point out that who doesn't want a food that can taste them back when it's made out of tongues and things? And also, the words of the Black Pants Legion, at least on Mech Warrior Online, are "Go fast and eat ass." And what better way to do that than to eat a hot dog?
I believe the Honorable Mr. Gronestrike had a point to raise.
Yes.
I will let you know that Team Grayscale is not going to put up with that.
I would just want to say that I am ashamed that Mr. Squeak is doing a shameful tactic of overwhelming people with a big amount of words. He does not respect the laconic ways of the olden people. He just simply wants to manipulate you using Blurple as his flag. I do not support this, and you should be
Mr.
ashamed of your
Speaker.
tactics.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to object and continue my
Order.
filibuster. I have refused.
Order,
to
the member
allow
has
it
not been
to
recognized.
Lapse. Unacceptable. Sir, if I cannot be recognized, I cannot
Order.
be stopped. I will
Order.
fetch this
Cut the
voting
feed.
bucket and
Cut the
I
feed.
will cast my own series
Cut the feed.
of unlimited
Batman.
votes. I cannot be stopped.